Next, you'll want to outline the mermaid tail using 3 strands of embroidery floss and a stem stitch, and that's also what I used to make the lines in the inside of the fins here. Make sure that when you do your stem stitch that you follow the curves. So if my curve is coming out this way, then my thread is going to come out on that side. And same with this side, it's going to come out on the left side because the curve is going this way. So if I was doing this curve here, I would have my thread coming out on the left again, and this one curves both ways, but since the majority of the curve is here, I would bring my thread out on this side. So for this curve here on the left, this line here on the right. Make sure you don't switch which side you're bringing it out on because that's going to mess up the twist of your thread. So just pick one side and stick to it throughout the entire line. To do a stem stitch, bring your needle up through the back. And then this first stitch you're going to want to make kind of a little bit longer than you normally would. Just a little bit. And then before pulling your thread all the way down, you want to bring the needle up at the halfway point between where you came up and where you went down. And then pull that up. And then you will go now a shorter stitch length forward, just a normal stitch length. And then before bringing that down, you want to bring your needle up through the hole that your first stitch length went down into. And then pull that up. And you'll notice I'm keeping my thread is coming out on the same side every time. So let me show you. So I'm doing one stitch length forward, bringing my needle up through that last hole, and I'm pulling the thread away this way rather than bringing it under and going that way. It doesn't really matter which way you do it as long as you're consistent the entire time, because what it will do, it gives you a nice kind of twisted look on your whole entire line that you're stitching. And if you start bringing the thread up through the other side, then you won't get that look anymore. If you're doing something that is curved, for example, if you were to do the side of the leaf here, anything that has a curve, I usually like to bring my thread up on the right side if it's a curve going this way, and on that side, on the left side, if it's a curve that's going this way. If it's a curve that kind of goes both directions, then you just start on one side and keep it going on that one side. You don't want to switch sides in the middle of the curve. So let's go back to the stem stitch. One stitch down. And then bringing it up through the hole and pulling it away. This is also a really good stitch for outlining things and for doing stems on flowers. Hence the name, the stem stitch. But it gives the appearance that it's all kind of just one long line instead of multiple stitches, and I like that a lot about this stitch. And at the end here, before I do my last stitch, I kind of like to do just one stitch and leave just a tiny bit left that I need to do, so shorter than I would normally do my stitch. So that's a normal stitch length there. And then for the last stitch, it's going to be really short, so just about up to there. I feel like that makes it blend a little bit more seamlessly to make one constant line.